Lix congratulates Rick on passing and reminds him about the drink they are supposed to get. Rick thinks it's a great idea, but he is shocked when Lix expresses an interest in meeting his party and asks to visit them. Rick's face makes it clear that he is hesitant, but he agrees to let him meet them. A while later, Lynx is on his way to visit, but he thinks it's strange that Rick told him to bring his most powerful equipment. Lynx arrives at the designated location, but he doesn't believe he's at the right place because it looks like the Demon Lord's castle. After ringing the bell to the place, Rick comes to greet him. Lynx noticed that there were no monsters on his way to this place, so Rick explains that monsters don't go near there. This makes Lynx wonder why he needed to bring armor if not for monsters. So Rick explains that the armor will keep him out of a casket. Lynx is then introduced to the girls of the group. He hopes his own daughter will end up happy. He likes Alisar, Rat, but he is shocked when Alisar Rat uses a level 6 spell by just saying the word boom. Rick rescues Lynx from being obliterated, and he scolds Lorette for using magic in the castle. Lynx is stunned to hear that she just wanted to play, and Romette explains that she will have to deduct the cost of repairs from Elsar's food budget. Elisar begs for forgiveness, so Rick decides to spend some time with her so she can calm down. Lynx is left to relax for a while, and he marvels at how huge the place is. He goes to see Meat outside, and Mizette explains that making crazy weapons is a hobby of his. Lynx tries out his latest weapon, and Mizette instructs them to put magic into it while pulling the trigger. The powerful recoil sends Lynx flying backwards, and the shot does major damage. The recoil was a bit too much, so Meat decides that he will have to make some changes to the weapon. Lynx is stunned by the weapon because if it were mass-produced, then it would change war forever. Lynx is beginning to see just how crazy this place is, and he meets Boston next, being surrounded by books. Calsbaroon and Lynx wonders if this intellectual orc is also a member of the party. Proston says that he has read most of the books in his library, but he hasn't had much time to read recently because he has been training. Rick Proston offers to give Lynx a training lesson as well, so Lynx eagerly accepts. Ross likes the look that Lynx has in his eyes as he senses the same light he sees in Rick. A while later, Rick is shocked to hear that Lynx went with Brost into the forest. Rick is terrified because he knows how dangerous that is. We then watch the terrified Lynx scream because he thinks his life is about to end. He goes flying off a mountain and he says goodbye to his wife and kids. Luckily, he lands safely on the food that Rionette has gathered for dinner. She notices the weights attached to Lynx and determines that this was Brost's doing. Lynx confirms this as he explains that Brost told him to run down a slope so steep it was basically a cliff. Lynx is sure that he wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Rionette, and she explains that Boston ended Rick's life the most out of everyone that trained him. Lynx is so terrified by that statement that he pretends he didn't hear it, and Bron arrives to continue their training. Afterwards, Lynx is relieved to still be alive, and he tells Rick that Boston was only supposed to give him some light training. Rick warns Lynx that he can't believe any of them when they talk about easy training, but Brost arrives to point out that he can just bring people back to life if the training eliminates them. Rick reminds him how fragile lives are, but Lysette is tired of all the talking and just wants to play again. As the guys wait for dinner, Lynx wonders how close Rick has gotten to Rionette. Rick explains that the relationship isn't like that, especially because he's too old. Lynx shocks him though when he explains that he and his wife are 20 years apart in age. He gives Rick some words of encouragement as he explains that all that matters is how they feel about each other. That night, everyone enjoys the feast Rionette made, and they all compliment her. Rionette goes to get some wine, so Lynx tells Rick that this is the perfect time to go and help her so they can get closer. Rick rushes off to help Rionette, and Lynx asks to learn more about Rick's inborn skill. Proston reveals that Rick's skill is a type that is activated by certain conditions. This means that Rick is not able to activate it himself. However, thanks to the training, Rick now stands within the realm of S rank even without his skill or weapons. Rick's skill is called Reckless Soul, and if it were to activate, he would surpass everyone, even the other members of Orichalcum Fist. Bron has a question for Lynx as well because he works at Central. He would like to know about the magic stones known as the Six Jewels. They are the ones in the legends of Yamato, and Rick explains that their goal is to defeat Kaiser Elate. The Six Jewels are magic stones that open the door to the place where Kaiser Aspia sleeps. The Six Jewels are activated every 200 years, and they should be emitting amounts of magic right at this moment as they have reached that part of the cycle. Lynx always questioned if the stories were real, but hearing them talk like this makes him confident. He has no information about the stones right now, but he promises to check the confidential department to see if he can find something. Just then, Rick asks if Lynx has any other good advice. He tried to help Romette like Lynx said, but she is great at everything and didn't need much help. The next day, a new adventure wonders why she has to clean the guild when she has the ability to defeat monsters. She spots Boston asking to take on a certain job, but he is denied. Ross can't understand why though, because the job's danger level is only 82, and they can handle it easily. The girl adventurer thinks this group looks pretty strange, and she thinks about how she has never seen the guildmaster be so differential with adventurers before. Rick uses his receptionist skills to see that they can take on this job as long as they have two ranks in a four-person party. Brosnan asks if they can have some help finding a fourth person, so the guildmaster agrees. He reminds the girl named Rye that she wanted to go on a quest with a higher danger level, but she is a bit hesitant to join the strange party. The guildmaster assures her that they are great adventurers, but all she sees is a talking orc, a little girl, and some old guy. Rye really wants to do a quest though, so she gladly decides to lend them her strength. On the quest, the group makes it clear that they are searching for a magic stone. Lynx told them that it should be in this area, and Ray wonders if it's worth a lot of money. The stone is quite valuable, but it's dangerous to handle without proper precautions, and it's capable of drawing monsters to it. Rai isn't worried though because she is confident that she can handle any monster. She is only in F rank right now, but she is sure that she will be in a rank in no time. Rick reveals that he just reached T rank, and Ray realizes that he's some late starter old man just like she thought. Rionette is back home, so she hopes that the others are okay. Mizette reminds her that Brosnan is with them, so they should be fine. The little weirdo then uses his gadgets to try and get a peek at Rion's delicates. Rionette stops him though and destroys his machine. Back with Rick, Proston determines that they are getting to the lair they are looking for. Ray is terrified to see a wyvern and shocked that they are looking for a wyvern lair. She warns Bron not to get too close to the beast without a plan first, but Bron just doesn't seem concerned. He tells the ferocious monster to move as he sends it flying across the forest, and he tells Rai that the plan is just to knock down any monsters he sees. Rai fears that his attack will just cause more wyverns to appear, but that is actually what Boston wants. Boston tells Rick to get Ray to a safe area so she doesn't turn to ash, and she is horrified to hear how much danger she is in. Rick takes her to an open field and reminds her that she's supposed to be strong. Just then, a wyvern gets tossed right next to them, and we watch as Alyssa Red and Bryn make quick work of a flock of wyverns. Ray is amazed by how far they are throwing the wyvern, and she is startled when a giant red one appears before her. Even in a rank would have a hard time against one of these, so she thinks they should run. Rick agrees that they should run away, but there is something he wants to check. He refuses to back down even if the odds are against them, so Ray decides that she will have to fight by his side. Rick can see how determined she is, so he allows her to back him up. Ray begins preparing a spell to protect Rick, but she is utterly stunned when Rick absolutely destroys the beast. Rick celebrates as this confirms that he really is strong. The next day, Ray is exhausted, and the guildmaster explains that nothing good ever happens when the Orichalcumphus shows up. A look back to the day before shows Ray wondering what they were going to do with the wyvern corpse. Their answer was pretty surprising though, as Rick explained that Ronette was going to cook it for dinner. She can't believe that anyone would eat a wyvern, so the guildmaster explains that people say that members of the Orichalcumphus are the strongest in the continent. He hopes that her experience with them made her realize that she shouldn't be going on dangerous missions, but actually just motivated her to train harder. Back with our group, we see that they were successful in obtaining one of the 6 jewels called the Crimson Blossom. It has an incredible amount of magic in it, and it should help them find the other jewels. Alisar wants to be the one to activate it, but everyone decides against it because she would just blow it up like she does to everything. Mizette is the one to do it, and a map of a large city pops up. The city is called Heria, and combat flourishes in that country. They are also famous for their Colosseum. We then get a glimpse of the fight taking place at this Colosseum as a girl is announced the winner.